much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Run.
What?
How are we brewing, people, as we kick off the week? Welcome to the stream. This is the Brews at 10. I'm your host, Lefty. Thanks for joining us. This is my left eye. FSM, first up in the chat, and more there as well. A very good evening to you both. Welcome to an evening of chat, debate, and avoiding polite warnings about copyright infringements, possibly. Just based on what's coming up, not referring to previous streams though. Do let me know how you are brewing in the chat. Had a few technical difficulties on yesterday's Sunday live stream. Thanks for your patience with those. It looks as though things are running a lot smoother this evening. JK just jumping in as well. Good evening. And yeah, I wanted to catch up on a few stories with you people. Also going to check something out together actually. I thought I'd throw this into the stream instead of just trying to find some time to watch it. And Graham Turner, great to see you in the chat. Oh, actually, as well, thanks a lot for the super chat just as we were leaving on last night's stream. I believe that was just after we came off stream, just after I closed the mic. So a belated thanks. And we should give a belated big up in the chat as well, please, people. Nice to see the room filling up with some familiar brewchachos. So what's coming up? I've actually got a trio of comedy clips this evening. We're going to be checking out a recent interview with Zarah Sultana on LBC as well. And also mentioned that Led by Donkeys Undercover sort of sting operation, I guess, if you want to put it that way, in tandem with Democracy for Sale. So a sort of My Left Private Eye, but not a direct investigation by the channel. And that's going to be a first time watch, actually, for me, like I said. Instead of trying to find the time to watch it, it was suggested, recommended to me. But we'll watch it together. So we'll go over that, as well as a couple of other stories, one of which I'm hoping will bring a smile to your face, something a bit more positive. I would say in the category of relief, that is. You'll feel relieved with this positive news. I can't say what it's about because that would spoil everything. But you might have heard about it already. Breaking news stories today. And that's all the clues. That's all the clues that you're getting, people. Graham, you're very welcome, no problem. Thank you for helping to support the channel. Solidari-Tea. There's something else that's coming up as well. So it's kind of well, you might be aghast and surprised, I guess, but it's more a sort of a, isn't that typical sort of a well, as it were. But we'll get to that. It concerns the the Reform Party. In fact, they are Reform UK PLC. If you want to get technical. Okay, so all that to come, plus maybe a few other bits. We'll see how we get along. Does that sound good to you, people?
Can you dig it?
Good. Something else that's good is the incredible members that we have on the channel. So if you'd like to join this list of great supporters, it's just 99p. Lots of perks for you to enjoy. Hit the join button if you'd like to know more about those. Thanks a lot to everybody on the list, everybody who's gifted memberships recently, super chats, super thanks, and bought coffees on the Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you'd like to contribute that way, check the link out in the description of the stream, or any other content on the channel. Why not enjoy as much as you can while you're here? thanks again. I really do appreciate all of the support. Now on 94. On the way to the target of 250. So thank you to the person who's renewed since yesterday's stream and taken us up to 93, it does appear. Or if you are a new member, then welcome. And thanks once more, Solidari-Tea. As well, should remind you, we like to throw a few tea-based puns around the brews at 10. If you're wondering about the pronunciation of certain words, essentially anything that ends in TY is game, plus a host of others. Tea and or brew. Plus any other puns, I guess. Have you all made sure that you've hit the thumbs up button just very quickly before I shut the stall and self-promotion temporarily for now? Please make sure that you have hit thumbs up on the stream. Give us a share on social media as well. Why not give us a follow whilst you're there? You'll find us at MyLeftEye UK on Blue Sky, Twitter and Mastodon. Any other business at the stall? Any other business? Okay. Let's get on to proceedings.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Liberté, égalité, fraternité. Exactement. FSM et la chaîne. Thanks, Mob, for the heads up. I'll try and keep an eye on the on-screen chat. Does get a bit frozen. We've been having to keep it outside recently for budget reasons. That's probably why. Damn recession. Damn austerity. Okay. I was about to say more seriously, but we're going to be going into the comedy clip first. So, perhaps less seriously. Another familiar channel. Which I'm sure you'll all, most of you at least, will know. But if you don't already, then go and follow the lads at Exploding Heads, their main sketch. The main sketch that they're best known for being the Colin from Portsmouth phone-in, so got the latest one of those. Do always like these.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
I am disgusted, Anthony. Absolutely disgusted. Gary bloody Lineker has started haunting my dreams.
Sexy dreams, would you say? Probably quite... No.
He was the ghost of Christmas past. He stood there whispering, "Be kind," and I screamed at him. Not in December, mate. That's the last thing I want to be.
So you're Scrooge in this dream. That's quite on form for you.
And then, right, the ghost of Christmas present comes barging in, and it's Keir Blimmin Starmer. He was banging on about bringing us stability, and honestly, it was so boring I fell asleep, even though I was already asleep.
I think there's tablets you can get for that, actually, Colin.
Next thing, in floats the ghost of Christmas future, which
Nigel Farage, probably, yeah.
And it was
of course it was,
of course it was. Pint of bitter like it was a sexy reindeer.
Oh, gosh, that's lovely. What a Christmas thought.
A future that he says I deserve, where Union Jacks grow out of the pavements, all countryside is either golf courses or car parks, and every TV station broadcasts Nigel singing songs about the Empire.
And the lesson was, it was a warning to you, wasn't it, Colin?
What,
a warning.
Mate, it was beautiful. cool. I loved it. He
Right,
said,
okay.
all I've got to do to make it happen is to keep shouting into the internet. Anyway, mate, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family and Merry Christmas, Colin. Have a lovely
It's
time.
Winter Festival, mate. What's your privilege?
Sure. Colin from Portsmouth.
It's the Winter Festival. Love to the family. Love to the family, of course. Exploding Heads there. Do go and check them out and subscribe if you don't already. More comedy to come. Yeah, this is a first time watch through for me as well. Zarah Sultana's interview with LBC, on LBC, I should say, with Lewis Goodall. That's going to be first off. I've only seen the first 30 seconds or so. We'll get into that. No spoilers, please. And while I've expressed some frustrations recently, might I say, with the Your Party conference and everything else, you know what I'm getting at, people. I do still really like to see Zarah Sultana in interviews. And I still do have a lot of respect for her and Jeremy Corbyn alike. We won't get into the wranglings of any arguments at the moment. Just want to focus primarily on the interview, because she's still very good. She was killing it on Question Time. That was a month or two back. Yeah, and once again, I'm not... this is generally speaking, trashing Your Party. I've got my eye on Your Party and Green Party at the same time. And it needn't be a binary choice either, possibly. Secret Dance Move, thanks for joining us. Yeah, the general feeling in Manchester is that Andy Burnham would be preferable to Starmer, but as has been highlighted previously, and I think I even brought up myself once or twice, he did stick with Blair through the Iraq invasion. So yeah, FSM to the left of Starmer a bit-ish. His transport policies in Manchester have been very good, and I've brought that up before, and he defied Starmer actually by keeping the same bus fares when Starmer increased bus fares by 50% very early getting into office. There have been other policies since then, in case anybody had forgotten that old one. But here in Manchester, fortunately, yeah, they remained at £2 singles on the B network. And if you buy a single and get another bus within an hour, you can still use the original ticket. But of course he does have his critics. I still mostly refuse to entertain the idea of him becoming the leader of the Labour Party. That stunt with Clive Lewis perhaps was meant as a warning shot to Starmer. Because pretty much he made that announcement, and quite a few of his constituents in it's Norwich seat, isn't it, were saying basically, you know, the fuck you will. They weren't best pleased with it. So you're just going to try and swap us for Andy Burnham. This is after, you know, they criticised Starmer for parachuting candidates in. I guess it would be ripe for accusations of hypocrisy as well, whatever you think about it. Yeah, I've met Corbyn a couple of times briefly. I've seen Zarah speaking live. I've never spoken to or met with Zarah Sultana. But I have seen her speaking a couple of times. The tangent alert is flashing yellow though, so... And thankfully James Holmes has distracted us away from that semi-tangent, so thanks a lot for the 5 gifted memberships, James. Solidari-Tea. Can we please big up James Holmes in the chat, please, everybody? I will update the total. That takes us to 99. We're on the precipice of 3 figures once more. We've been wavering above and below the 100 line for quite a few weeks now, people, but we will get there, thanks to your generous contributions. Thanks again. Great stuff.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We liked that one, but Keir Starmer didn't.
Oh God!
And even worse news for Keith now. Thanks again, James. You've pushed us over the 100 mark.
Oh God!
That's right. We are century again. Thanks again, James. $100. Various other sports worthy. Call out 100. Cricket, maybe. 100 members. Thank you very much indeed. We can very much dig that.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Shall we get into this interview then, people? Right, yeah, let's... it's not massively lengthy, but it's about 12 minutes long, the interview or the clip. Just want to check you can hear this first, actually, people. Doing things a slightly different way than I normally do, slightly unorthodox. Technical goings on this evening, people. But all being well, yeah, this will work. he says, perhaps too confidently. It should be up there now. It's okay, I've got a backup. It's just that doing it this way means I can use the inserts and that sort of stuff. All that frippery. I'll give it one more go and then... No, we'll do it the other way. That's fine. Fine, be like that. I've got a backup.
Zarah Sultana, MP, of course, for your party, was a Labour MP for Coventry South, then an independent, now in your party, which is fresh from its conference. She's going to be taking some of your calls leading up to the top of the hour. So if you've got any questions, 0345 60 60 973, call now and we'll put you in the queue. First of all, I'm going to talk to Zarah for 5 minutes myself and abuse my position as host of the show. Zarah, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Been a bit of a few weeks.
It's been quiet. Don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, well, starting a new party is no small thing. And I think it's fair to say, right, and I'm sure you'll be the first to admit, there are some growing pains. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Over the past few weeks, there's definitely
An understatement, if anything.
been difficult moments. Me and Jeremy haven't set up a political party before. We haven't designed its structures from scratch. And at the heart of all of this has been the aim of building a party that has maximum member democracy, that our members run the party. It's not a top-down machine like the Labour Party, like others, where decisions are made at the top and everyone else just has to follow orders. This is about building a party that is truly democratic.
How is your relationship with Jeremy Corbyn?
It's good. I saw him in Parliament last week and we managed to, have a quick few words, but the nature of Parliament's we're running through lobbies. We've got so many events going on.
How much are you talking to him on a regular basis? I mean, you're both very senior in this party. You'd think you were speaking a lot.
We catch up on WhatsApp. When we see each other in person, we're able to speak, but it has been...
So it's still unclear if she was directly accusing Corbyn of this top-down format akin to Labour that Zarah and a lot of other people want to avoid. But there are other names that have come up, that is, who was responsible for expelling certain individuals or groups from the conference initially, before, of course, all of the hoo-ha. But I don't think she's directly accusing Corbyn. She has mentioned, obviously, this boys' club thing before and included Corbyn in that. But it's difficult. It's very difficult in terms of groundwork to build on, I guess, if they want to be as big a thing as they potentially can be. Don't want to ruin it all before it's all even begun.
Been very busy, and obviously we've just wrapped up from conference. Everyone's kind of winding down just before Christmas, so it's been a busy few weeks.
Is it fair to say there have been political differences?
I think when people reduce it just to personalities, I don't think that's accurate. I've always, from the outset, been pushing for a party that is led by its members, not MPs. And there are others who have been involved in this process that have had a very different vision, where it is very top-down, led by members of Parliament, and those debates and those teething issues have been about democracy ultimately.
It's been about differences of how the party should be run.
Absolutely, how the party is structured, how it's governed.
He wanted a single leadership model, and you wanted a
collective leadership. Well, initially, I was championing a co-leadership structure. Unfortunately, that wasn't put on the ballot paper for members to choose from. They were only presented with sole leader and collective leadership. And between the two, the most democratic out of those two options is collective leadership.
And so,
how are you feeling about that, people? Would a dual leadership be something that you'd like to see on the ballot? That question especially goes out to your party members. I know that we have some regular viewers who are your party members. But the question is open to everybody. Might more people have gone for that than collective leadership? The thing is now, though, well, it's not even a technicality. That's the way that it's been put to me from various members. There could still be a single leader under the collective membership format if the collective membership collectively vote to have a single leader. That was very labyrinthian. I hope I got the words in the right order. But yeah, it still could mean, even though it's a slim chance, that Zarah, Sultana or Jeremy Corbyn might still be at the helm of your party. Remains to be seen, But if not, then that certainly is going to be the last time Corbyn will be in charge of any party, which, I don't know, it would be a shame and a sad way for that to happen.
How's that going to work practically?
So on Monday evening, we should be getting the kind of rules around executive committee elections. There will be 26 positions. There are 4 that are reserved for public office holders, which I disagree with. I don't think there should be any that are reserved for public office holders, but those...
I do, thus far, Lewis Goodall is actually doing better than other interviewers that we've seen recently. Laura Kussenberg, of course, who I featured a snippet from yesterday, being one, but we're a couple of minutes into the clip now, and it's not essentially just a pile-on, just waiting for the sentence to end so that she can be interrupted and start naysaying everything, you know. He actually appears to be listening and absorbing these technical details instead of, oh yeah, what, it's going, you know, instead of writing it off, which I think Laura Kussenberg had a bit of a push at yesterday, or maybe more than a bit of a push at. But that, again, it was one of the most frustrating things about these fallouts, is the stick that it gives the mainstream media and the right-wing press and the right wing in general to beat the left with. And you've got to say it's a bit of an embarrassment, the whole thing. As passionate as it is, you don't want to show yourself up. You don't want to show the party up. But I do want to stay positive overall, like I've said. Let's see some more of what Zarah's got to say. And the result of yesterday's poll, most of you thought that they can turn it around and get back on track, so I'm inclined to stay positive as well. Let's see what we can do. There's still a lot of time before the next proposed general election.
Are the positions that have been outlined, including reserve positions for Scotland and Wales and other sections, which I believe will be a women's section, our LGBT section and other sections. Again, we will find out more information on Monday evening. Those elections will happen over the course of January.
I know you'll say that it's democratic, and obviously it is a different way of doing things from how other parties are doing it. But even like your answer there, it is quite confusing, isn't it?
Do you know what? Democracy, internal party democracy, isn't everyone's cup of tea.
No, I think that's fair.
Having kind of a simple structure where it's just led by a few politicians at the top and everyone else.
Yeah, it is. It can be a bore, but it is necessary, because you want to get things right. You want to make sure that people are represented, so on and so forth. There are a lot of technical things to get through. One of the sketches that I didn't play on yesterday's stream, but I played a few from Spitting Image, also featured. It was Jeremy Corbyn, and in Spitting, they've got him as a glove puppet. But they spend this much time arguing over, executive orders and this sort of thing, that we get into the 2040s and they've still not agreed is the gag. But it is necessary. And like she says, it's not everybody's cup of brew. But if it is going to be truly democratic and representative, you've got to go through a lot of things with a fine-tooth comb. Suffice to say, you're not going from a starting position where everybody's aligned in an agreement. Some of them are going to be incredibly polarised on certain issues, so it takes a while to get through. I can't say that I've been on their website this evening since I started to prep for the stream to find out if they have actually announced any of these executive committee decisions, but I'll try and bring you details of that. Won't go through them all. Like I said, they can be. They're not exactly a very entertaining piece of literature, I should say.
Kind of has to listen to what they say and just, you know, knock on doors, fundraise and be treated like volunteers. I don't think that is the correct model, and so we're building something fundamentally different.
You did talk, though, during this process of a party, or a sort of nascent party, which was being characterised by bullying and witch hunts. So given that, how can you really turn to the public and say, support us? This is a party which is clearly still comprised of people, I would imagine, that you think involve people who were bullies and conducting witch hunts. Why should anyone support that?
Because we're fixing the problem. I think in politics you have to be honest, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of that in general. And what I've been honest about is the problems, but
the problem is obviously these provocateurs that we've mentioned before. How do you create an effective barrier to keep those people out, but also be broad and inclusive, which you say you want to be? I made a very, and do state, re-emphasise, very hypothetical scenario that had some right-wing people signed up and they were paying the memberships, direct debits, and showed up at the conference demanding entry. Would there be so much enthusiasm for the inclusivity there as there was for the SWP? Who got most of the spotlight. And I was going to do a sort of... Did you notice the one person that kept coming up from the Socialist Workers' Party in all of the footage? And even when Zarah Sultana was being interviewed, he's hovering there in the background, sort of, you know, going for the world record for being in the shot. And I think they mentioned his name when he was interviewed by Politics Joe, I think. It slipped my mind at the moment. But it was just everywhere you go, and it was really doing my head in at one point. Every time any mainstream or YouTuber mentioned this story, there he was, up he came. And it really started, who is this guy who's helped to turn this into a bit of a bloody shambles?
We are fixing those issues to build.
Sorry, before we carry on though, just back to the original point though, yeah, where is the line? Where is the line of keeping the provocateurs out, but being inclusive? Because there has to be one. There has to be one somewhere.
Inclusive party that is diverse, that looks to the country and says, we understand that your lives have been made worse by consecutive governments. We have the worst living standards on record. People's energy bills are going through the roof.
Are there still bullies involved?
The incidents of bullying, and particularly the experiences that I've had, I've spoken about, and Jeremy and everyone involved is very, we're all focusing on moving forward and building a party that can actually win in elections and build power.
Some of the bullies are still involved in the party.
The systemic issues around the bullying, the legal threats, the Islamophobia, the sabotage, like before when I went on BBC Question Time, what happened before, all of those have to be addressed, and that's about a cultural difference and recognising that some of these tactics have been taken straight out of the playbook of the Labour.
They certainly do. They certainly do need to be rooted out. And you also need to ensure that there isn't an organised coup or a mass exodus very close to the next election, as there was in 2019, to a slightly lesser extent 2017 as well. But 2019, where that was the deputy leader walking out on the party as part of the coup, was one of the worst elements of that, and has to be avoided again at all costs. It might not be for the same bullshit reasons, but it could be for other reasons, other phony accusations of bullying or whatnot. In the early formation of the party, it's very important not to paint yourself into a corner or tie yourself into a conundrum. And I think it's just because we've been so long without socialist representation that I find myself increasingly not nervous, but hopeful that this will work, because you only get one shot.
Right, and that we cannot replicate the Labour Party in any way, including that toxic culture.
Has Corbyn himself bullied you?
No, that is not what I've said.
I know, I'm just clarifying.
Jeremy is not the person that I hold responsible for the leaks that have happened,
but
for the sabotage. But there are people.
Okay, yeah, so she sort of emphasises clarity on that there. I did talk about that at length before, but this is the first time I'm watching this. And again, yeah, Lewis Goodall giving her a chance to explain herself, which I have to say is pretty decent compared to, shall we say, other interviewers. Thunberg.
People who have been involved in this process who have done that, yes.
There's a suggestion that maybe the party, even though it's only just adopted it, I know I don't think you were in favour of it to begin with, but could be forced to drop the name Your Party because the Electoral Commission is saying it's reviewing a complaint against, alleging the party's name breached electoral law because it could cause voters to be misled while filling out their ballot paper.
I wasn't aware of that.
Are you committed to, this is in the Telegraph this morning, are you...
So, what, akin to it being called a party? Oh, what, really? Are they trying to get... okay. So they're trying to bring linguistics into this. That's news to my ear and to my left eye, actually. This claim that it could confuse people on the ballot paper. I don't. You could put some sort of, and I'm not being serious at all with this suggestion. I do have to say, but put some sort of introductory title or prefix in the sort of the that Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana founded Your Party. I don't know. They all singing, all dancing Your Party. Yourparty.org. Call it Tick Here. Yeah, call it Tick Here to get out of this capitalist shit show. I don't think that's a valid argument that it could confuse the electorate. And, not that I have much faith in a lot of sections of voters in this country, but I would at least expect them to understand that that is the name of an existing political party. What about UKIP? That's got you in it. That's a bit confusing.
Are you committed to the name?
The members have chosen Your Party. Obviously, I wanted it to be called the Left Party. Again, That wasn't put on the ballot paper.
Oh.
Thought it was for insomniacs at first until someone explained it to me. UKIP Party.
And the
sounds like your suggestions are being
dismissed, not even put on the ballot for members to choose, which is all very interesting. But the Left Party is still a viable option in the future. It is owned by Socialist Unity, who would give the name up for a party if our members chose it.
So you would still like to rename it?
I've embraced member democracy. The members have chosen Your Party. But in the future,
if this complaint were borne out.
If it's upheld, we would have to go back to the members.
Just quickly before we go to the cause, obviously one of the biggest questions is that at the moment we've had the Green Party going through its own transformation, And Zach Polanski has moved the party to a much more sort of left populist party, moved it economically, arguably, to the left. In which case, the argument is then, what's the point? Why don't you just go and join them?
I don't think that's a very democratic argument, saying that we've got one left party with a very popular leader
What's the
who's doing
difference
really well.
between
We're a socialist party. We are not shying away about talking about...
You're further to the left than Polanski.
I would say that being an explicitly socialist party is a genuine left-wing alternative to what is being offered by the status quo. And of course, on many questions, when it comes to NATO, when it comes to our relationship with Israel, when we're talking about not overseeing austerity in local...
Well, I was just going to interject and say that there would inevitably be an impasse on a few issues, including those that she mentioned there. And that's my thinking as well. When other people have suggested that she join Polanski and the Greens. How do you feel about that, people? Keep it coming in the chat.
Governments, we have different positions.
What's the biggest difference, do you think, between you and Polanski?
I think me and Zach have a lot in common, but fundamentally, I don't think we should have any diplomatic relations with Israel. I see Israel as...
What does that mean in practice? We never talk to them about anything.
Well, we have an ambassador and we have an embassy.
Should we close that down?
Yes, and we should expel the ambassador. And even on questions to do with the cultural boycotts that people are talking about.
What about British citizens who live in Israel and need...
We've got to make a very clear statement, as other countries are doing on a better scale than we are, that these actions will not be tolerated, no matter who you are. No matter who you are. And there certainly can't be any sense of exceptionalism applied to any country in the world, because a war crime's a war crime.
Consular support, people who visit there and so on, just practically that's going to be...
I think we can work those issues out, but fundamentally it's about having diplomatic relations with a state that is on trial for genocide at the ICJ, whose leaders have active ICC arrest warrants, who have committed war crimes on televised... And we've all seen it for the past 2 years.
Tyler is in Leeds, who has the first question. Tyler, you're through to Zarah.
Well, we're into the call, so there's a call-in part now.
To Goodall.
Hello, you're through to Zarah. What's your question, Tyler?
My question is...
Oh, God. There could be some gold in here. There could be some unmined gold. I've not seen this before. Call-ins with Zarah Sultana. What I want to ask, right? First, like UKIP, is that for insomniacs? Maybe Colin from Portsmouth will come on the line.
What is your opinion on regional devolved mayors, and will you be standing any candidates in the May elections? Thank you.
Oh, that was a very serious question. I'm in my second semester of my first year of politics A-level. Please, could you tell us what you think about regional mayors?
Zarah, are you going to be standing any candidates in the regional mayoralties in May?
I think it's important that we have candidates running in local government and in regional elections, and where your party candidates can't stand for whatever reasons, I think we should support other candidates whose manifestos and whose politics we support. I think regional mayors are really important. I think local government and at the regional level, we can make a real difference to people's lives, whether it comes to house building, when it comes to transport systems. I think that's where people can really experience the benefit of socialist politics.
OK, Tyler, grateful to you. Michael is in Kilburn in North London. Michael, you're through to Zarah.
Hi, Lewis and Zarah. So I signed up to your mailing list. I've always voted Labour.
Oh, God, I'm going to try and call this one. This is going to be a fucking where's my money question.
And then just watching your whole omnishambles of how you handled, the launch of the party and your infighting. So now I've moved to the Greens because they seem to be more together. So how do you think you'd get the goodwill back from people like me that...
Okay. It's not. There have been a few complaints from people about the memberships and stuff. I just thought that might have been one of them.
We're willing to...
Bad call. I'll own up to that one. That was a bad call. Can't get them all right.
Now that you've been acting like a big baby.
Firstly, I'll
just replay the question in full again.
The launch of the party and your... Hi, Lewis and Zara. So I signed up to your mailing list. I've always voted Labour. And then just watching your whole omni-shambles of how you handled, the launch of the party and your infighting. So now I've moved to the Greens because
That sounds like Ian Dale. That sounds like Ian Dale. That's Ian Dale. He also has a show on LBC, doesn't he? He's like ultra-Tory Ian Dale. He once assaulted a pensioner on a pier for some sort of protest. He was doing a protest. Many years, you might have seen that clip going around your social media. But I'll be damned if that doesn't sound like Ian Dale. Skip back a little bit. Close your eyes, people. If you'd know who I'm referring to, though, you might have seen him from other clips on LBC. I'd say he's in his 60s. Ian Dale, bald-headed man, a Tory's Tory. But have a listen.
And then just watching your whole omni-shambles of how you handled, the launch of the party and your infighting. So now I've moved to the Greens because they seem to be more together. So
it's
how
a
do you
dead
think you
ringer.
get goodwill back from people like me that were willing to join you now that you've been acting like
She's going to come back. Ian, I can hear you behind the screen.
a big baby?
Firstly, I'd like to say I'm sorry for what you've seen over the past few weeks. It was never my intention for things to play out this way. In particular, like I said to Lewis earlier, this has been about member democracy being at the heart of the party that we're building. So members aren't treated like volunteers who just knock on doors, who just stuff letterboxes with leaflets, who just raise money, but are actively deciding the governance of the party, the structure of the party, the policies of the party, and you select your candidates through one member, one vote, open selections, recalls, and mandatory reselection. I would say that we have a lot of work to do to rebuild trust over what's happened, but we have had our founding conference. We do have 55,000 members. We will be standing candidates in the local elections, and we've got a lot of work to do, and I look forward to doing that.
Yeah, I thought it was actually 65,000. Perhaps it is 55. I may stand corrected. I mean, this is, I'd expect Zarah Sultana to know, but I think she handled that question very well, as you point out. Yeah, agree with that comment there in the chat. Secret dance move. 691.
Michael, does that convince you?
No, because I just wonder how does she regret the way that she did all of this? Because
to be fair, it's not just her, is it, Michael? I mean, it's been a bit of a all round.
All of them, I know, all of them. But they had hundreds of thousands of people that were willing to sign up, and now they've all been leaked to another party, and we've been forced down that.
There are a lot of people disappointed. I mean, Michael's probably speaking for a lot of people, Zara, right? You'll agree, who were disappointed.
I completely understand what Michael is saying, and I know that 800,000 people initially expressed an interest in the party that we're building. What I would say is that not all of those people have gone away. Yes, some have joined other parties, but many people are waiting and watching. Many of them are ready to join and be involved, and obviously we've got to rebuild that trust, and the proof will be in the pudding.
Michael, grateful to you. A text question here from Josh. My question for Zara is, how is your party polling in her own seat in Coventry South? Will she retain her seat, or is she going to go for another one at the next election? Are you going to fight Coventry South, Zara?
So I haven't seen any polling for Coventry South, but I am dedicated to my constituency. I work very hard locally, and my team does, obviously, to serve the people of Coventry South. And
will you definitely stand there again?
So that's the plan.
That's the plan.
And it's in 2029. And what I will also say is that there are other options, including mayoralties, that I think will be worth considering, especially when you look at how you can immediately make people's lives better. So there are options, and I haven't decided, but my priority is Coventry South.
Okay. Stan is in Caterham. Stan, you're through to Zara.
Hi, Zara.
Hiya.
My question is, do you have an example of a country where the economic policies you were proposing was a great success?
Thank you.
Is this the socialism doesn't work? Just look at Cuba. Ignore the sanctions. Look at Cuba. Look at this misrepresented example that wasn't even socialism.
you. What I've been talking about.
It's that question. It appears to be some of you're an American, aren't you? Or perhaps from the continent of America.
When we talk about nationalising the commanding heights of the economy, that's energy, rail, mail, telecoms, all the things that.
Yeah, but seriously, there are countries in which a lot of the policies demonstrably work. You're going to get these questions on social media as well.
Actually poll really popular amongst the British public. Those are commonplace across the world. You see examples in Ireland, you see them in Norway, you see them in Switzerland, where there are state-owned railways, as well as other key utilities and infrastructure. I think it's also important to look at alternatives in terms of democratic ownership in the economy. And you see those examples also in the Asian tigers and Latin America in particular. I think we have to be looking at workers' cooperatives. We have to be looking at community land trusts. We have to be looking at alternative forms of banking in the forms of a public bank. And we've got those forms also in Germany. So there are examples that we can look at across the world. And obviously the state of the economy and the levels of inequality in this country are so severe that we need radical solutions.
Does that, I think Stan's gone. Let's turn to, because I haven't got much time. Mujahid, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, who's in Streatham. Mujahid.
It's majority.
Sorry, he just failed on both attempts there. I don't even think he pronounced it. Just mumble it, you might get away with it.
That, I think Stan's gone. Let's turn to, because I haven't got much time. Mujahid, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, who's in Streatham. Mujahid.
It's Mujahid, yeah.
It's Mujahid. It's Mujahid. Do I have a... Socialism doesn't work and never will. Okay, let's time out there. Okay, that one's on snooze. Just in timeout. I rarely have to use that, but yeah, obvious trolling there. Apologies.
Yeah,
my apologies.
Assalamu alaikum to
and Lewis Goodall also apology. Lewis Goodall also apologising.
Zarah. Just to say, if 90% of the new party were to repeatedly insist that Jeremy Corbyn were to lead your party, would you be agreeable with that?
Of course, this is about member democracy, and I know politicians say things, and sometimes, if not most times, they don't usually mean it. But genuinely, if members voted for a sole leadership, and then if members voted for Jeremy, I would completely support that. This is about members running the party and no one else. You happy with that?
People, if you were to let people know that, I think a lot of people would come back to you. I don't think enough people
the members have voted in the way they have, haven't they?
So Mujahid, we had a conference in Liverpool last week, and the members voted, and this was open to all members, including through online voting, between sole leadership and collective leadership, and the members chose collective leadership up until 2027.
Mujahid, thank you. One last question I think we've got time for from Carl in Liverpool. Carl, you're through to Zarah.
So it's not going to be Colin in Portsmouth.
Hi, suppose you haven't had the smoothest of starts, Zarah. Do you think you're doing much to allay public concerns when you kind of air the party's dirty laundry in public? You're talking about your disagreements with four people who hold public office being among the party's governance. You're talking about your name having been put to the members.
Dirty laundry is the allegation.
Well, firstly, as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to say that maybe Liverpool's start to this football season is something that I can...
She's a Liverpool fan. I'm not sure I was aware of that. Liverpool fan? That's some way away from Coventry for anybody who's not familiar with English geography, for any of our international viewers. We're talking about Merseyside, which is towards on the coast, the west coast to Coventry in the East Midlands, I would estimate perhaps some 120, maybe 50 miles away from each other. Go figure.
Relate to in terms of not the best start.
Is he suggesting you're the Mo Salah of this outfit? Look at that, me making a contemporary football reference. That does not happen every day, LBC.
A what?
Liverpool fan, I'd like to say that maybe Liverpool's start to this football season is something I can relate to in terms of not the best start.
Is he suggesting you're the Mo Salah of this outfit? Look at that, me making a contemporary football reference. That does not happen every day, LBC.
I thought he said it. I thought he did a swear. But he was about to say football before he decided to go with contemporary.
Liverpool fan, I'd like to say that maybe Liverpool's start to this football season is something I can relate to in terms of not the best start.
Is he suggesting you're the Mo Salah of this outfit? Look at that, me making a contemporary football reference. That does not happen every day, LBC listeners.
Mo Salah has not been performing very well.
Okay.
But maybe we can improve that post-Christmas. What I would say is that the disagreements that we have had within the party have been about democracy. There have been tactics that I've called out, including leaks to the right-wing press, legal threats, sabotage, and that is unacceptable in any working environment. I will not tolerate that. The movement will not tolerate that, and the members have shown over the course of the weekend that they will not tolerate that either. There are lessons definitely to learn from what has happened, but I am committed.
Yes, I acknowledge that Liverpool have an international fandom and indeed not just restricted to Liverpool. Yeah, obviously. It's just because previously I was sure that I'd seen her doing something to do with Coventry City, or maybe wearing a Coventry City top, maybe when she was electioneering, but I might not be remembering that quite correctly. Has she appeared in Liverpool replica shirt? I don't know.
Jeremy's committed to building an inclusive party that goes out into our communities, that uses community organising as the vehicle to build power, but also is a strong electoral vehicle presenting a radically socialist vision to the country.
Carl, grateful to you. Last word goes to Leon. And Zarah, if you could do this in 30 seconds, I'd be grateful to you. Please tell Zarah that she has given me hope, and I thought there was a chance. But she needs to wake up and realise your party is done. I don't need a protest party. I need a party that can affect proper change. What I want her to do is go...
Signed Rachel Reeves.
...and join the Greens, and that will make the biggest difference. Is there any chance of that at all,
I will not be joining the Greens.
That was Rachel Reeves and Ian Dale.
I'm very committed to building this party, and we already have had our founding conference. We have 55,000 members. We have over 190 proto branches. We have people up and down the country, including in Scotland and Wales, who are very committed.
No Green, never Green.
I am a very committed Your Party MP, and I'm very proud of that.
You'll never join the Green Party.
I'm very committed to your party.
And is that dodging? Is that question dodging? Slightly mild, very, very mild critique there, but she didn't absolutely rule it out, has to be said. Didn't think the chat would divulge into the location of Coppites in this evening's chat, but here we go. It looks as though that timeout worked. If the troll does reappear, I'll boot them out, but one fair warning, I guess. Usually, just let them roam free. But yeah, not tolerating that. How do you rate that interview? I thought she handled most of the questions rather well. And I'll be damned if that was it the second or third caller wasn't Ian Dale. Yeah, I thought she'd sort of take her headphones off and I can hear it coming from somewhere else. And then Ian Dale's scheduled after Lewis Goodall. That might be trimmed if you watch about later on. Oh, we've got Led by Donkeys up next. Right, people. Like I said, I'm trying this new way of playing clips. I'm going to give the new way another go. Just bear with one sec. This is another first time watch. It could be pretty shocking actually. It's Undercover Sting. Led by Donkeys, like I said. Also Democracy for Sale. Fingers crossed this will work. Yeah, Zarah handling things pretty nicely there. I think more. Okay, just bring this up now. Yeah, that answers that question, I think. We'll stick with the other way. That didn't seem to agree with YouTube Studio or the broadcast software. Right, so first time watch, and well, apparently they went undercover. It's one of these dirty money undercover investigations slash stings. I'm not going to do it as a My Left Private Eye. Yeah, because it's not my investigation or anything. So yeah, let's see how they managed to do this one.
Warnings to politicians from MI5 to beware of passing information to Chinese agents haven't stopped one former Conservative MP hoping to profit from his connections.
Democracy for Sale, working with campaigners led by donkeys, filmed this and shared the footage with ITV News.
I'm Peter Gagan.
Of course, you'll know Led by Donkeys for the stunts, projections onto Houses of Parliament and Tesla Warehouse. They did the thing with the backdrop with Liz Truss, didn't they, at one point? Various great stunts that they've done.
for Democracy for Sale. And for the past 5 months, we've been working with the campaign group led by Donkeys to investigate political access in Westminster. Basically, we've been looking at how cheap it is to get around our lobbying rules and to buy access without any records having to be kept. The thing that is so remarkable about this story, I think, is just how cheap it is. You know, we're talking today, as we record, a lot about this huge £9 million donation from Christopher Harborne to the Reform Party, to Nigel Farage. Well, the story we're going to tell you today involves just £5,000. And for that, we got to meet more than 10...
£5,000. Well, even the when you see the numbers that Israel lobbyists pay to members of the cabinet in the tens of thousands, that's still pretty cheap for a human soul, shall we say, or to ignore international war crimes. £5,000. Yeah, for people who, let's remind ourselves, if there are members of Parliament concerned in this, then their £90,000 salaries, when you put that into perspective, it's somewhat cheap. Although £5,000 obviously would be a significant amount of money to actual members of the working class. But £5,000. £5,000. That's cheap. That really is cheap.
Labour MPs and have lots of contact with government ministers, and all of this went through a single former Tory MP who's a kind of node that facilitated all of this access. And this is my colleague from Democracy for Sale, Lucas Amin. Lucas, do you want to just tell the listeners and the viewers quickly, what did we do?
So this story all started around 9 months ago when a source in Parliament sent us some emails that were caught our attention, basically. What they showed is that Labour government ministers were doing events and fundraising dinners where corporate tickets were being sold for £250 a pop. And we couldn't see how those tickets were advertised online. And so we started...
£250. And it, you know, this wasn't like a big band reunion. Like, I don't know, the Oasis one was one of the more recent ones, wasn't it? Of course, £250 a ticket. What is it, New Year's Eve?
To investigate.
Yeah, so we were really interested to find out, like, you know, if you could sell a ticket to meet Rachel Reeves with no record of this anywhere, of West Street, and this wasn't declared anywhere, what else might be on offer? So we approached the firm behind this firm called Chamber Group, which is a firm run by former Tory MP Ben Howlett. And what we did is we posed as a company, a fake company called EC Strategies, which sounds really grand, EC Strategies. Has a really nice website if you Google it, or maybe at least it did, in Chinese and English. It talks about all our different customers. It talks about how we're based in Hong Kong and we've got lots of connections all around the world. Nice pictures of wind turbines. But the thing about EC Strategies is it doesn't exist. We made it up, we created it, and we created it as a company, a front company effectively. And this is
so it's like GB Energy then, probably with about the same amount of staff as well. What was it? Was it 12? GB Energy has it might have been 8. I can't remember what it was, but it was abysmal.
Supposed to be a Hong Kong-based consultancy working for a rich Chinese family office with interests in tech and in healthcare. So we created this legend, and we approached Ben Howlett's company, Chamber UK, and asked them, you know, would they be interested in working for us? And frankly, I think we didn't really know what was going to happen. We thought maybe, you know, of course, they might ask some questions. We're just a website. We probably wouldn't get very far. But knowing that Mr. Howlett was able to have all these meetings and these events with senior Labour figures, we're interested to see what might happen.
I have to go and have a beer with them.
Well, it already reeks of your classic cash for access, really, doesn't it? There have been similar political scandals, cash for access. I think way back in the 1990s, there was another one in the early millennium with cash for questions. Was it in Parliament? Another classic case coming up, perhaps.
Mate of mine, and then tell you about it.
So I did all the trade visits for China.
Once we started engaging with Howlett and the Chamber Group, True enough, we were offered a £350 ticket to go and meet with a bunch of Labour MPs, including Bill
250 or 350. Is this a different thing?
Esterton, who sits on the National Security Committee, the Joint Committee for National Security Strategy. And that was very interesting. And we were introduced to Esterton personally. But I think what we didn't really anticipate was that Howlett was perfectly prepared to approach more than 50 MPs on behalf of our fake Chinese company. And he had a remarkable ability to set up meetings very, very quickly at the drop of a hat.
He signed a contract. This fake company signed a real contract for just £5,000 with the Chamber Group. And in exchange of £5,000, they promised, and I quote,
That's £10 a go. £10 a go to meet an MP. Roll up, roll up. Roll up, roll up. 500 MPs for just £5,000. This week's special. The Howlett special.
to provide our prospective Chinese investors in the healthcare and technology sectors with, quote, insights on the political and regulatory landscape in the UK, including insights gained through one or more conversations with members of the Parliamentary Labour Party. What does that mean? That means that they were saying, look, we're going to go and meet members of Labour MPs for you, and we're going to set up all these meetings for you. This is exactly as Lucas says was happening, just when all this China spying case stuff was happening, you know, where there was a lot...
First of all, the way you described the website, this phony company, as it is, nice pictures of wind turbines he mentioned on the website. Obviously, this is some sort of phony green energy company, then one would have to assume. Sorry about any background noise, there's some particular traffic outside. But why 50? Why does he need to speak to 50 MPs? Why would it not be like just directly shoving him into Ed Miliband's office or something like that? Is it because they know that it's all crap and that they don't really have the renewable energy agenda that they claim to have? So what's going on? Why would a company with a specific agenda within a specific industry have to meet with some 50 members of parliament?
A concern about access for Chinese and frankly other foreign influence in our politics.
That's not me doubting this version of events. I believe this is an honest testimony that they're going to be giving throughout the video. It's just, what are these 50 MPs? What are they up to? Is the question that I'm posing. Just to be very clear, not challenging.
And the thing I think that is keep coming back to with this was, you know, this former Tory MP was able to get all this access for us, and none of it has to be registered because of the way our lobbying regulations work. So all of this went unregulated. None of it was registered anywhere. We got a lot of meetings.
Can I stop using the word China? If I say Hong Kong instead.
And one of the things that really struck me was how often the kind of concerns about China were being downplayed. There was different times when Howlett was talking to MPs on our behalf that he was kind of like downplaying these sort of concerns, making it sound as if not being very clear as well about what we were really trying to do, the kind of information we were trying to get, like presenting us as an investor in the community, presenting us as something he didn't know we were actually, because he was talking to a front person for this fake company. We didn't know anything about us. There was no, there's no signs of any due diligence. I should say Chamber UK said they did standard due diligence, but we didn't see any signs of that.
Well, unfortunately, that is the standard, which is one thing that they've found out for themselves firsthand.
Yeah, and the phrase that Howlett kind of alighted on in the end was that we were a private equity family office from Hong Kong. And it's true that we said we were based in Hong Kong, but we never referred to ourselves as a private equity house. That was something he kind of took on himself.
We're from Hong Kong. I'm assuming this is via email or whatnot.
And he was very careful in the way he sought to present the image of our company. So bear in mind, our contract was very clear that this was for prospective Chinese investors. This was for a Chinese firm.
In this case, totally is that we're talking about like is a private equity, a family office based in Hong Kong. You know, frankly, because Chris Patton being my predecessor, you know, we know what the relationship is like with Hong Kong. It's a lot easier than it is having a conversation with, say, Beijing in this instance. So at the end of the day, we are talking a Hong Kong office. We're not talking about, you know, a state-owned, there is party echelon sort of here.
In their response to all...
Well, recorded video call, that's going to be pretty difficult to deny.
Chamber UK did say they wanted to... they regretted any embarrassment or anxiety that might have been caused around this, and they accepted their responsibility for how these engagements had been framed.
We're a not-for-profit, so we're generally sort of just looking at how we can sort of increase the attractiveness of the UK from an investment point of view at a regional level.
I assume it's for legal reasons. They have to say it's unverified that this is he.
And at an actual level as well.
It's really interesting what these MPs were being told. You know, they were being told that they were meeting a company that was interested in investing in their constituency. They were being told repeatedly that we were a Hong Kong-based company. China really wasn't mentioned. They were told by Ben Howlett and Chamber that this was part of their not-for-profit institute, a thing called Curia. But actually, this was a contract we'd signed, a for-profit contract we'd signed, again, for just £5,000. We never expressed any interest in these, in the constituencies of these MPs. We didn't know who they were. They were just kind of appearing. And it's really striking. There was actually so many meetings that our undercover reporter couldn't go to them all. Mr. Howlett went on his own to some of them and just sent us AI reports. That's how many of them there were.
A Labour Party spokesperson said that these meetings were pitched to MPs as a routine conversation about a potential investment in their local area. The MPs involved acted entirely appropriately throughout and did not share...
This is more like it's like secret body cameras on the ground stuff getting in there. Let's see what's happening.
...sensitive information that is not already in the public domain. Chambers Group said, "We also want to reiterate our concern that MPs and their staff were drawn into secretly recorded conversations under false pretenses. The group regrets any embarrassment or anxiety that this may have caused them."
They weren't paid to take our meetings. They were taking our meetings, I think, because they were being told it was of interest to their constituencies, which is the kind of thing you would expect MPs to do. And I think we're not suggesting that they had done anything wrong in this. Really, I think what this story shows is how easy it is to get to MPs, but also how easy it is to buy access and lobbying anonymously. But part of the Chamber Group is a thing called Politics UK, which you might have heard of. It's got almost 400,000 followers on Twitter. And Ben Howlett revealed that he bought a 50% stake in this Politics UK Twitter account, which often interviews Labour MPs, Labour ministers. He bought this for just £100.
How much does a 370,000 follower Twitter account cost?
Well, that's
The guy who owns it hasn't got a clue on business at all.
Really?
I bought it for £100.
Oh, well, if that's true, that's shocking. But I wouldn't put it past that to not be genuine if you look at the sort of person that we're dealing with here. So yeah, either they are very cheap as well, £100. Shocking.
£100. And he's...
£100?
Spent how long building that up?
6 years.
I was thinking 10 grand. More, maybe.
Quite. I'm like that Nigerian guy.
It's probably not even a disguised voice. It's just that this piece of shit here was so late. By the time he got there, the other guy's completely rat-arsed.
We were talking about if you're on the internet working out it was a stupid person, basically, in the world of politics.
And the person he's talking about, this is a young...
And he spent how long building that up?
6 years.
So it took them 6 years to build this... was it a social media account? Was it a Twitter account? Oh, it was Twitter. Never X. Whatever it was, and then sold it for £100. Yeah, that isn't just slightly naive. I'm not sure how much of that I actually buy, to be honest, but it sounded like they were about to go on to who they're referring to.
I was thinking 10 grand? More, maybe.
Quite. I'm like that Nigerian guy you're talking about, looking around the internet working out who's a stupid person, basically, in the world of politics.
And the person he's talking about, this is a young Conservative parliamentary staffer who sold it to him for just £100. And what was striking is we were able to use Politics UK. We were able to pay Howlett. Well, we never gave him money, but we were able to offer to pay to get pro-China posts put up on Politics UK. So we were able to put out stories on Politics UK. And it's interesting, but when we went to Howlett for comment on our story, these posts actually started to disappear. The posts we paid for off Politics UK disappeared. And actually Politics UK started tweeting about our undercover investigation, saying that this had taken place, but without mentioning that Politics UK was part of the Chamber Group or really what had actually gone on. And they did all this before they came back to our request for comments.
There is suggesting that the US Embassy, which is somewhat very close to one of the most interesting fibre optic cables anywhere in London, is not doing what the Chinese are about to do in respect of having their embassy in. It baffles me. This is really random, but I obviously went out with Liam and all the rest on the China visits and all the rest in terms of break opportunities and all the rest. Question for you. Given obviously Pete's out next week in China, is that going to change things in terms of relations? Because
the MPs who engaged with us, they generally believed they were meeting with a non-profit policy institute, which is Howlett's Curia. And they were not aware that we were actually, albeit a fictional client, but a paying client for Chamber UK.
A couple of ministers at least were approached by Ben Howlett on our behalf. And actually in one private meeting he told us that he and Chamber had drafted Labour's life science plan, which had been first published in opposition and then became the UK's official life science sectors plan. And he told us that the plan had been funded by big pharmaceutical companies who had funded Chamber and his Curia, which is part of the quote-unquote Chamber Group, to do the work.
God. And these are some absolute ghouls that we're talking about in Big Pharma people. We all know that story.
Is the piece of work we did for the... we wrote the implementation plan for the government's life sciences industrial strategy, which was then given to the Shadow Minister that commissioned it, and now it's in government policy as the life sciences industrial strategies.
In response to our questions about Howlett's comments about writing this life science report for Labour when they were in opposition, Chamber Group said that it recognised that the way the report was described could have given some listeners the impression that it shaped policy to a greater extent than was the case, and that it regretted any confusion.
How do you have a conversation with someone about why you think this is an important thing? I'm like, I'm having these conversations anyway, so basically I get paid for having conversations with people I'm already having conversations. I have to go and have a beer with a mate of mine and then tell you about it.
I think it's very striking that Howlett insisted throughout our engagement with him that he doesn't do lobbying. He was much less clear about what his role actually is.
So as far as the official replies to all those allegations go, sorry that you misunderstood that we were accepting bribes and you might have gotten a bit confused. What? For real?
At different times he said, my role is to look at the policy environment, to provide due diligence. He said, I get paid for having conversations with people I'm already having conversations with. And, at other times he just said that it's basically about going for beers with mates. One of his colleagues was much kind of clearer when he said, we're not lobbyists, but what we do with clients is all the behind the scenes stuff. So we would feed you or your client with all the information.
Well, he's going to be on the shortlist for the Bang to Rights Awards. That's for sure.
The positions, the messaging, rather than the traditional advocacy. And that they do that because they think it's a better model.
And it's a better model probably because of exactly the way our lobbying laws are written and they work in the UK. And I think this is the important thing. And this is the thing that was really striking about our investigation.
They need demolishing, obliterating, tearing up en masse. It's just legalised bribery. There's no other way to put it. There's no two ways about it. And this country reeks of it. It's absolutely up to the eyeballs in corruption because of these lobbies.
Chamber UK told us that they're not. They might be described as lobbyists. What they do might be described as lobbying, but they do not break the rules of the Lobbying Act. Some experts we talked to disagreed, and I think there's going to be a complaint put into the lobbying regulator looking for an investigation. I think my position, and probably your position too, Lucas, is it's not really clear. I think it's looking at the way the rules are, it's very possible Chamber UK are not lobbyists. And that's because of the way our lobbying rules are. You only have to register as a lobbyist in the UK if you approach a government minister or a senior civil servant on behalf of a specific client with a specific desired request. What Chamber was selling is effectively lots of stuff that goes around lobbying but doesn't break that rule. So that means you don't have to register as a lobbyist. So what you're able to do is collect in information. You're able to meet people informally, meet ministers informally at events. You're able to buy things like posts on an influential Twitter account. You're able to do all of this work, which...
Well, you need to clamp down on these loopholes or whatever as much as you need to clamp down on the lobbies themselves. Because, like, receipt of anything, and the same goes for second jobs for members of parliament. The only money or monies that they should receive should be their salary for being an MP, and that's it. Anything else should be considered a conflict of interest, and the reason that we, the people, their constituents, supposedly pay them so handsomely to represent them.
You know, most people would see as lobbying. They'd see this as some form of lobbying. But because of the ways our laws are written, and these laws actually, amazingly, these laws date back from David Cameron. If you remember David Cameron, the man who got caught in the Greensill lobbying scandal, well, when he was in...
When did regulations become a dirty word? I have it on pretty good authority that was, at least in the UK, around 1979.
Office, he talked about lobbying as... he talked about it as the next big scandal. And they brought in these lobbying laws, but it's fair to say these lobbying laws are absolutely, they're so poor it's unbelievable. What I think this shows more clear than anything, we haven't, as we said, this hasn't actually been about a bunch of MPs taking dirty money. This is about a system and a structure that is actually ripe for exploitation. I think that's what we've shown on this.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it shows you things like the revolving door have become so normalized that there's this cottage industry in and around Westminster, which is thriving and there to provide access to whoever can pay.
And that's just one example of many, and I've already stated my frustration and angst against the lobbies. That is unrelenting. And like I also mentioned, second jobs for MPs. That was pretty shocking as well. That's what £5,000 buys you. So imagine what those with deeper pockets are able to afford themselves, literally. What are we saying about that in the chat? Not-for-profit and MPs does not compute. Absolutely true. And yeah, the era I was referring to there with 1979, neoliberalism, ripping up of regulations, especially within the financial sector. Margaret Thatcher responsible, and Ronald Reagan in tandem across in the States. Cottage industry, good point there, Mo. Yeah, Westminster, what can you say? The very vast majority of them are only there for their own personal interests. They want to get into this system. And it needs getting rid of. root and stem. It's brought to the core. Definitely the financial sector. Absolutely, Graham. Isn't it interesting how, if the free market is supposed to protect, look after society so much that it almost causes its wholesale demise every, what, decade and a half or so? Which by that reckoning might mean that we're maybe overdue one. Frightening. But speaking of, yeah, dirty politics, I guess. Another story in the UK. It's a well moment, like I alluded to at the start of the stream. But it's just, you know, wouldn't you believe it? I'll just upload this. This is an article from the Canary. Oh, we've lost the background music for some unexplained reason. Oh, that is actually why. Apologies. I won't explain the technicalities. So this one comes from the Canary. And of all things to happen to all parties, this concerns reform. And you certainly, you know, don't have to scratch your heads too much to figure out what their primary political issue topic is. But take a look at this, people. God, what can you say? Just capture this window. £40,000 fine for hiring illegal workers. Well, Nigel. What's going on? What's all this about? As concerns a certain Michael Andrew Harrison, councillor in County Durham. He was selected on the usual bullshit of cracking down on illegal, this is what it says in the article, from the Canary. Great stuff, as always. Just check that you can read all the text. I'll make that a bit bigger. So he was selected on the usual bullshit of cracking down on illegal immigration, but it looks like that was horseshit. Now his company, Churchill's Management Limited, have been handed a £40,000 fine after they were found to have hired someone who didn't have a legal right to work in the United Kingdom. Well. He's denied the allegations on social media and says he will appeal the fine, but this shit show is just another chapter in the utter hypocrisy of reform. His party, dominated by middle-class white men, is built on the premise of ending illegal labour and securing borders, only to have one of its own councillors caught red-handed using vulnerable workers to boost its own earnings. Who could imagine a Reform councillor doing such a thing? Well, probably everyone. Yeah, shock, horror. That's it with the nepotism, I guess. So this management company operates the Armoury, which is a pub in Seaham, and they even put little Union Jacks on the toasties for some fucking reason. It says. Oh, really? Oh, come on. Come on. The Armoury's predecessor at the same location went into liquidation earlier this year, so this doesn't bode well for the company. Oh. The irony is bloody brilliant. It's no ordinary little pub, and it looks like Lord Kitchener threw up on it. It's war-themed and dripping Union Jacks located directly opposite a war memorial on the seafront. It wears a mask of caring for traditional British values, whilst allegedly skirting British law for profit. The colossal fine was issued by the Home Office this week, so presumably Harris will be eager to comply with the overseers of our borders to ensure fair and legal working conditions. Union Jacks on the fucking toasty, that's lame. Lame. They're probably still upside down as well. Back to the article about whether they're going to comply. Further investigation shows his company was also dragged into an employment tribunal over allegations of unlawful deduction from wages. Oh, this gets worse and worse. It screams of a pattern of disregard of the welfare of workers across the board, whether illegal or otherwise. But what else can we expect to reform? They're a nasty party who want to seem like they're men of the people, but the reality is quite different. They're upper and middle class posh twats who think it's one rule for them and another for everyone else. They spout that. Go and subscribe to the Canary. This is great, people. Great stuff. They spout their racist drivel and pretend that they actually care about workers' rights, but Harrison is a perfect example of how they can't be fucking trusted. You might have gotten a hint or two so far that they certainly hold no quarter in their reporting. The message from the Home Office that Reform UK loves to parrot is clear. Illegal labour will be punished, yet the message from the party regarding Harrison's fuck-up is unsurprisingly silence. Reform have refused to comment on the story. They've just pulled up one example of something that he himself has had to say previously on social media. He says, I support illegal workers being removed and businesses being held to account. Stop this illegal activity for self-gain. Business owners that abuse the system should be jailed, in my opinion. It's in a lock them all up. Or, you know, just further hyperbolic rhetoric. God, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. £40,000. That's significantly hefty as well. Don't know what a councillor makes in Seaham, was it? Well, we'll have to wait and see them for further developments on that story. This is My Left Eye. The Brews at 10. Serious live stream, all about politics and society from a left-wing perspective. So if you're in that area, look out for Harrison. You might see him. And I'm going to stop there, I think. Another matter. That's fortunately good news. Ending on a positive story. Just got to close some bollocks about not subscribing to everything. No thank you, no thank you. Okay, we're good to go. Oh, yes, we're back. Bufferage there. Where was I? Where were we, in fact? Yeah, this picture, just 1 second. This picture, yeah, is expression. That is Tony Blair. We'll start on the left. Just what can you say? That's the... I hope everybody's forgotten about Iraq face, twinned with, this is what a human being looks like, right? But he looks like a friggin' waxwork. Like Madame Tussauds or something like that. where apparently they've got the central heating on very high, because both of them, and Trump in pure mahogany mode there. What is that? That's scary. That's scary. That expression. But fortunately, he's out. After objections, so that keeps him and his son Ewan, who was waiting ready in line with contracts good to go, apparently, it appeared. Oh, you thought that Tony Blair wanted to get involved with this out of the kindness of his... Oh, he really, really does care for the people of Gaza and the wider Middle Eastern region, of course. He's never been party to any kind of action which would create any death disruption. Anyway, we can all breathe a slight sigh of relief, as I said. With his Institute for Global Change. Institute for Global Change. He didn't say for the better. So obviously he was identified in this as a potential role taker, that is, in the 20-point plan. This is of Trump's making. It's a load of crap. Obviously we know about the ceasefire violations already. In fact, Netanyahu, it's been quoted just today, said that they're about ready to go into the second phase because apparently phase one has transpired without incident. What a lot of crap. The Americans like him and the Israelis like him. Well, that's enough reason for him not to be put forward. This is according to a quote from Trump. So tough crap, Tony. Doesn't get to have another go at the Middle East this time. But again, that picture just... yeah. It's like off-human. Just off-human, you know what I mean? Like the prototype of some sort of sci-fi experimental robotics. But if not Blair, then whom? Well, it's hard to think of many worse people from UK political history, fortunately. Oh yeah, and he's still at it, as you point out. Quite rightly there, Rory, in the chat. And just because this has been announced, let's not, you know, there's a lot of chicanery and underhanded methods that we know that certain people might choose to implement. And Free Palestine and Lebanon and Sudan, of course. So another proper comedy clip. Apologies for that god-awful shite in the middle. But, yeah, this one concerns, I don't know if you heard, it's an international comedy video. Shall have featured before, the Juice Media. The banning of mobile phones, or sorry, social media for under 16s in Australia. This is something that's been debated about as well here in the UK, as well as the use of phones in schools and things. So it's a pretty short one from the Juice Media, but do subscribe if you don't know the channel already. Show some solidarity.
Day Australia, our world first social media ban for under 16s is now in effect. We know this will cause an awkward conversation with your 12-year-old, but if you ask nicely, they'll show you how to work around it. Please don't. Albo already told the UN our ban is lit, so don't ruin it for him.
Albanese.
Look, we all agree social media can be harmful, and not just for kids. It's f***ing all of us, right in the pineal gland, polarising society, undermining democracy, and rotting brains with floods of AI slop. We could address all that by forcing social media to regulate toxic algorithms, ban addictive features, and by imposing a duty of care that protects all users. But regulating billionaires is hard work. So we said, let's just ban the kids. So now the billionaires can keep pegging humanity with even less incentive to moderate.
For a better future.
Sure, we rushed this law through in just 9 days, ignoring hundreds of experts, our Human Rights Commission, and our leading digital rights, Indigenous, and mental health orgs. And sure, we've created huge privacy and identity theft risks and taken a big shit on freedom of speech, but think of the children. Just not the children being hammered by gambling ads, which we've refused to ban, and definitely not the ones saying we need to protect them from climate change. Those children can go and get Okay, so it won't be perfect, but now that it's happening, here are some tips as we roll out this evidence-free experiment on your kids. 1. Look out for your young people, because some will need help, like the kid being bullied at school, the kid in an abusive family, and the LGBTQ kid who found support online, all of whom are part of the 73% of young people using social media for mental health support. 2. Kids who sneak onto social media may not feel they can ask for help if they're being bullied, shown harmful content, or groomed by some pedo. So talk to your kids. And 3. For fuck's sake, maybe spend less time on social media yourself, because your kids need you not to succumb to doom-scrolling cooker AI brain rot either. Under 16 social media ban. It won't stop bullying, predators, gambling ads, or AI peddling billionaires from fucking everything that breathes, but at least we're doing something. Just not the things that would start to fix all that. Join us next week for another episode of Doing Something, where we announce our new policy of checking your IDs for Google searches. Australian Government. Authorised by the Department for Rearranging Deck Chairs.
Go and subscribe. Juice Media there. Great stuff. Credit to all those people that actually quite a lot for the Patreons of the channel. Check them out. Sorry if I've been a bit scatty at points tonight, people. It's been a long day, but yeah. Juice Media. Yeah, some good points in there as well. Time for another shout out to all the members on the channel whilst I go scouting for a redirect for a raid. But whilst I'm looking, thanks to everybody for your support. Thanks to all the gifted memberships on the channel this evening, and other various methods of support, super chat, super thanks recently, as well as coffees bought on the Buy Me a Coffee page, Solidari-Tea and or coffee. But whichever way you choose to support the channel, thanks once again, everyone. And we have No Justice is live, so we'll read into Helena with a redirect that's set up and good to go. And there is no poll to announce the end of this evening as well. Right, all's set up. I believe all that remains is for me to thank you once again for joining me on tonight's stream. I'll be back with more later in the week. Free Palestine, Lebanon and Sudan. Of course, power to the people. My left eye will be seeing you soon.